This has been a scenario that talk about getting the call right. And this comes from Rule 10. Again, if you haven't read through Rule 10, Rule 10 is in the very back of the book. It's the umpiring section. It talks about just the general responsibilities of the umpires, of what the umpire in chief is, and other game management and stuff like that. So it's got a lot of details in it that does have some great information. It's less baseball-y and more just kind of administrative, but it still has a lot of really great things. So this is going to come from Rule 10.1.4. This is on page 65 in your rule book. Whew. And it says, did I write? Okay. It says, any umpire's decision which involves judgment, such as whether a hit is fair or foul, whether a pitch is a strike or ball, or whether a runner is safe or out, is final. But if there is reasonable doubt about some decision being in conflict with the rules, the coach or captain may ask that the correct ruling be made. The umpire making the decision may ask another umpire for information before making a final decision. No umpire shall criticize or interfere with another umpire's decision unless asked by the one making it. Okay, so let's talk about this. This really comes down to judgment versus rule. Okay, and we have it the word you make a call as the base umpire, and you call him safe, and the coach doesn't like it, and he comes out there and argues with you, and doesn't he's talking to you, and then he asks the question is, will you ask your partner for help? And I think that phrase is a very much a decision-making moment for you in what you want to do as an umpire. There are certainly times where you should go ask your partner for help. Yes. There are also times where you should look at the coach and say, no, this is my call. It is my judgment, and I am not asking for help. And that is also okay as well. So let's talk about the most simplest one of where you're going to go get help quite a bit, and that's check swings. We talked about check swings already at the beginning of the year. If a coach asks you to appeal to the base umpire, did he go? Yes, go. Did he go? And then move on. That's one of those that's pretty easy to just make a coach happy and say, hey, you're right. He asked. I'm going to ask too. Don't have that, arrogance is like, no, I got it right. And who knows? What's the worst thing that could happen? Oh, you could get another strike. Strikes leads to out. Out leads to the game moving on. Okay. Other things that would be like by rule or like rule interpretations that could possibly change that I would certainly ask for. If the coach comes out and asks, hey, the first baseman pulled his foot, he was about 6 inches off the base. Now, if I have some doubt in my mind as a base umpire that called this play and he may have pulled his foot, I didn't have the best angle. Guess what I'm going to do? I would be absolutely happy to go to my partner and ask for help. And the conversation would sound like this. Hey, I have a catch. I have the first baseman on the base beating the runner going into first base. Coach is saying that he thinks that he's off of the base. And I would ask a specific question. Was the first baseman on the base when he caught the baseball? And your partner's going to say, yes, he was, or no, he wasn't. And then you as a crew decide before you leave that huddle and say, okay, thank you for that information. Because he was on the base, I'm going to stick with an out call. Or, hey, thank you for that information. Because he was off the base, I'm going to change my call, and the runner is now safe. And you go and you make the call, safe, off the bag. And you make that decision as a partnership, and you make that decision as a team, and then you know what you're going to call before you leave the scenario. So that is one rule. Another rule that I would potentially go ask for, no questions asked, is let's say that we have a swipe tag, a pickoff play, and, I'm a little further from the, two-man umpire, we're a little far at times from plays just because we have to split the difference. But let's say, we have a swipe tag and a whacker, and I bang the guy out, and the coach comes unglued. Whoa, 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 you dropped the ball. And comes out and says, hey, look, there's no way he can be out. Why? Because the ball was on the ground. The ball's plainly on the ground. You just couldn't see it. And I would probably be like, well, you're right. I probably couldn't see it. Can you go get help? Yes. That is something that I absolutely could go get help on. So, hey, coach, go back to the dugout. I'll make sure that, we'll get together. I get together with my partner, and the conversation would go something like this. hey, I have a catch, I have a tag before the runner gets back on the base. The coach thinks that the ball was on the ground. The ball was not cleanly caught. Was the baseball on the ground? Do we not have a catch? And then whatever my partner says, hey, Caleb, I really don't have any information to give you. I'm in a bad spot. Well, guess what? You stick with your out call. Or, hey, Caleb, yes, the ball was clearly caught. After the tag was made, the first baseman, purposely dropped the baseball going to, switch hands or what, okay, then we're going to stick with our call. Or be like, no, Caleb, the ball was plainly on the ground. He never had it. It hit his glove and bounced on the ground. Okay, thank you for that information. Because of that information, I'm going to change my call. It is now safe. And you leave the huddle and you say that he is safe. Now here's an opportunity when I am not going to go get help. I am not going to go get help if a coach comes out and asks me because he thinks I just missed the call. Let's just say that we have a steal at second base and, I don't know, pulling the scenario out of a hat. My drop step is a little too deep. I get straight lined with the tag. The ball apparently beats the runner. And so I whack him whenever it apparently is an easy call. And everybody in the stadium goes bonkers. The coach comes out and says, oh, Caleb, that's terrible. You just missed. That was the laziest tag ever. Can you go get help with this? It's so obvious that he's safe. He never touched him. It's so obvious that he's safe. This is where I have to be like, this is my judgment call. And I am going to live or die with this. I'm going to look at the coach and say, no, I'm not going to get help. This is my call. I have nothing else that I'm working on. I have nothing else that I'm looking at. This is my call 100% of the way. Well, you just got it wrong. And okay, great. I'm sorry I missed the call. Or I'm sorry you feel that way. Or, I would love to see it on film. I can't wait to look at this play after the game and see if I got it right or not. Or from my perspective, I still got an out. Let him say his piece and then use your game management situation. We've had enough. Issue a warning if you have to, if it keeps going over there, it keeps blowing up from that scenario. But we are not going to go get help on judgment calls when there's no question as to it's simply just a judgment call. And this is going to, really come into play when it's like, base umpire and you have multiple runners and you're splitting the difference. You're in the working area and you have a throw and a quick snap, quick tag on a runner, and all you get is just a little instant look. We are not going to open the can of worms that is going and asking just because the coach asked us. It's a judgment call. Okay, so let's say that we did have a scenario where the umpire does want to get together and talk about something. And the conversation is talking about the judgment of the call. You as the umpire that is being asked, I would love for you, okay, I love you. I'll be in a second. You as the umpire that's being asked, if an umpire is asking you, did I get the call right? You do not need to offer your judgment on the call. Simply respond, I am not here to criticize or critique your judgment call. Ask me about a rule. We could change, did he have the ball? Was he on the base? Those are questions that we can ask about. Do not give your judgment to supersede another umpire's judgment. That is what Rule 10 is exactly talking about in this scenario. That is what page 65 was talking about. No one shall criticize or interfere with another umpire's decision. Even more so, the judgment decision by that umpire is final. So if we're just talking judgment versus judgment, the calling official's judgment is the right one, period. We do not need to be making overriding judgment calls on another person's judgment. At times, you have to eat it, like I did on the game that I just gave you the scenario. My drop step at second base was too big. The throw beat the runner it was supposed to be an easy out. But I had a bad angle. I didn't take the best shot at it. And guess what? I missed the call. After the game, we were walking back to the dugout or walking back to the locker room. And I asked Cody, I said, all right, be honest with me. Did I get it right or did I miss it? He just laughed. Said, well, since you're laughing, guess what? I missed the call. He goes, oh, it was terrible, Caleb. It was really, really big. But you know what? That's a relationship that I have with Cody. That's a relationship that I have with a lot of you guys. And you know what? If I miss a judgment call, I would want you to tell me because I want to get things right in the future. I want to know why I missed it. I know why I missed it. My drop step was too big. I got myself in a straight line angle. I didn't see through the wedge. Those lead you to miss calls. But the fact is that in the moment, that was my judgment. And in the moment, I have to live with that no matter what, because that's my judgment. So to kind of wrap this portion up, we need to know the difference between judgment and a rule. If a coach comes up and asks you, hey, I would like to get help on this part because it's a rule thing. Yes, we could certainly get together and and talk about that. But if a coach is only asking you your judgment, if he thinks you got the call wrong and simply wants you to go ask your partner to reverse your call, no, do not do that. That is opening a can of worms. And this is my last thought for you, is what you allow will always happen. If you allow a coach to come out and ask you to go get help and you feel like, oh man, I'm asking for help a lot of times, because you're allowing it, it will continue to happen. It's just how it is. And it may not be just all in that game, and it may be in other games as well. But what you allow will always continue to happen. Coach asks about a rule. Yeah, get together. Make sure we get that right. Coach thinks your judgment is bad. Well, sorry, we're not going to go get help on that one. This is really something that I think all of us can certainly improve on for the rest of the season. I'm going to pause here just again because that's the end of this section before we go to the play, kind of plays of the week. Anybody have any thoughts or questions about this one? Man, y'all are quiet. I sure hope that y'all can hear me and y'all are not listening to me to the ramble, but here we go for it.
Hey, Caleb, I would like
Yeah.
to hit back on that check swing and pill stuff.
Okay.
No matter if it's a left-handed batter or a right-handed batter or where your partner is on the field, if a coach asks you to get help, you have to get help by rule.
If a coach asks you, can we check that? The answer is yes. Now, remember, as we discussed, I think check swings was 2 weeks ago. We do not check on check swing strikes. If you say the batter went and we call a strike, the coach cannot ask you, hey, can you check that? No, it doesn't work that way. It only works if you rule the pitch a ball and then you're wanting to change it to a strike. Can we check that? Yes, we can. Cody, did he go? Anytime a coach asks, yes, you check that. Thanks for that
But you
reminder.
don't have to by rule.
Clear, it's not by rule. It's in the TASO mechanics manual that it's the
By
umpire's
rule, you don't
obligation.
have to, but it's stupid not to, because the worst is you get another strike.
Yes, and so to clarify that, I wasn't going to get into that nerdy, nitty gritty detail, but yes, the high school rulebook does not require you to ask the appeal if a coach asks you, but other rulebooks do, and I think that way is the superior way, and so that's why I'm telling you what to do. If the coach asks you to appeal, the answer is yes. So other rulebooks make it by rule. High school rulebook does not, but it is really, truly the best practice. So that's what we're after anyway, whether it's a rule or whether it's not. So if a coach asks you to appeal, the answer is yes. Did he go? And what's worst could happen? You could get another strike.